In the meantime, there is the question, the breaking news. We're going to get into Tom Gore's comments, but then right as we were coming out of the break, our Jeff Rieger tweeted that Ken Holland just said Jeff Blashill is back. Everything that we received on Twitter now is just slamming this decision. And I mean, I understand the frustration. I think what's going on here is to keep the same message being sent to a team that has had zero premium on their games in the midst of a rebuild. But I think there's a lot of people that, they want to see somebody pay for this. And if it were to be somebody, for me, it would be Kenny Holland. And I've said that, but I think that the retaining of Holland is a slow play to get Steve Yzerman. In a long play, not a slow play, but a long play to get Steve Yzerman, to make it easier to get Yzerman. And to give Ken Holland a finish line. You better have it turned around in 2 years. We better see progress. Let's go to Tony in Brownstown. Hi, Tony.
Hey, guys. How you doing today?
All right, Tony.
Good. Hey, listen. I think keeping Ken Holland is a great move, and I think keeping Jeff Blashill is a great move. I mean, if you look around the league, all these teams go through this. I mean, there's no team that's not going, hit them at one time, went through the rebuilding. And it's not his fault. Franzen got hurt, and Weiss got hurt, and he had an owner, which we are really going to appreciate down the road, that made him probably sign a lot of these guys to bad contracts because Michael was trying to win. And you know what? He's probably going to be the greatest owner we've ever had in this town. But I think keeping Ken Holland here is great. I think Jeff Blashill, the team never quit, man. These guys worked hard. And I'll tell you, I'm really excited about this team. They got so many nice young prospects, and they got a great draft coming up. I think, Doug, you're going to eat your words here in a couple of years. Ken Holland is the man. That's all I got to say.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tony, you make sure you call me back in a couple of years and tell me that I should eat my words, all right?
I mean, Tony, do you see a star player on the roster?
I see good players on the roster, and eventually we're going to get that star. But right now, I mean, how many teams have a lot of stars? I mean, not that many. They have a couple. There's not that many teams with superstars on them. You probably can't. There's probably 10 in the league, and eventually we'll get a star. But we have a lot of good, hard-working young players, and and who knows what's going to come this year if we get that 5th pick or something like that. Maybe we'll find another Steve Yzerman in the rough out there. But the Red Wings are exciting. They're and I believe within a couple of years, Doug, I'm going to call you.
Okay. I look forward to that call, Tony, because that'll mean they've turned it around and that he has orchestrated it, and ultimately that'd be great. I mean, that would be great. I got to tell
you, you guys do a great job. I listen to you every day.
Well, thank you, Tony. We really do appreciate it. Bob on a cell. Hi, Bob.
Hey, Doug, how you doing?
Good, Bob.
You know what? The Red Wings fans, they cried about, we had our success in the West, but the game's too late. Let's go to the East. They knew the East was tough. If they were still in the West, they'd be just fine. They had all their success, and they're a sorry, weak West, and now they're crying because the East is too tough, and they will never win. I mean, never. Even with Yzerman, they will never win.
Oh, come on.
Never?
Come on. First of all, they beat the Penguins for the Stanley Cup while the Eastern Conference would be in their heyday. I mean, they did win 4 Stanley Cups. You have to beat the East to win the Cups. Does the East play a different brand of hockey? I think that's a lot of lip service. I don't know if that's the case anymore. And I think that the Red Wing teams that have been playing in the Eastern Conference, those teams weren't going to win in the West either.
I like my man's full-on belief that this is the problem and they will never win. I can respect that he has a belief that he will take to the wall, but he's wrong. He's wrong. It's not that they will you can't say they will never win. You can't say that. And if you think that it's that much tougher in the East, then that's fine. That's totally fine, and I can buy that. But to say they will never win, no way. No way would I go there. Now, is it something where they kind of reshape what they do? Did what they do work better in the West? I could see that argument. But really, I think if they were still in the West right now, they'd be running into many of the same problems. It hit an end. It was a 25-year stretch of phenomenal competitiveness that we may not see again for a long, long time.
In any sport.
And with that said, I'm perfectly comfortable with the idea that they had a very good run. It eventually ran out. There might have been some bad decisions made. It definitely got harder. But I'm perfectly comfortable with them going through a rebuild. And they avoided it for a long time, and now they're going to deal with it. And then hopefully they do the rebuild as right as they did the initial build, 248-539-9797. All right, so let's get to the Tom Gores comments. Can you replay what he had to say, Kang, since we got sidetracked with the breaking news with Blashill? This is what Tom Gores, the owner of the Pistons, had to say about Stan Van Gundy and his future after last night's final. We got it? We do have it. All right, last night's final Pistons home game.
He's been, our partner for 4 years. I mean, he's, in the past, people come in, they go, but Stan's really made a commitment. He moved his family right away. He didn't wink for not a second. He just made the commitment. So I think he deserves the conversation, and he's been very committed. I think he's been good for us. So of course I have to check in with Stan.
Check in with Stan.
For what?
Well, in an earlier soundbite, he said that they were going to talk. He owed him to have a conversation.
Yeah, you have a conversation with him, of course. It's the end of the season.
But it seems kind of strange if he's talking about his future, that him and Stan have a conversation. You're the owner, man. This is up to you.
Exactly.
And I suppose you can ask him what his plan is and then say, nope, I don't like it. You're fired. Give him one last chance at a reprieve. Is that what this is about?
I was listening to the morning show this morning, and I thought they brought up a really good point, and that was this year's team right now, I think they have, make sure, but I think it's 37 wins on a season. It might be 38, but let me just make sure that this Pistons are 38-43. Last year was a horrible year for the Pistons, right?
Yep.
Horrible year. They were 37-45. So they're one game, there might be 2 wins better than what they were last year because they're playing Chicago, and Chicago was awful too. They might only be 2 games better than what they were last year, and last year sucked really bad.
Yeah.
This isn't growth. It's just not. It's plain and simple. And you can talk about, injuries decimated the team last year. Okay, well, Reggie was hurt this year, but they still had guys, and now Reggie's healthy. And I mean, what? What are we looking at? We're looking at banging our head against the door if we bring him back. And he's talking about he's a partner, and he's not a partner. He's your coach. He's your coach, and he's your effective general manager. Make the decision based on what you've seen him do when he took over this team and where they are now. Are they a whole lot better? Because when he took over a team that had won only, I think, 28 games right before he came to the Pistons. And now here it is, how many years later? And they're at possibly 39 games and still not in the playoffs. Not good enough.